Today's throwback, why we're having a look at the Mezco Cinema Fear Series 4. We're having a look today at the Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, Freddy Krueger. Depicted in the scene where Freddy Krueger is dressed as a surgeon. This comes to us from one of the last Cinema Fear lines. I felt it was needed that we could go back, have a look again at some of these older property figures, being that now NECA has acquired the licensing and that we're, as far as I know, we are likely getting a Surgeon Freddy. I'm pretty sure I have seen images already surfacing of the proposed figure from NECA. So why not go back? Let's have a look though at the original Surgeon Freddy. Now, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 was really surprisingly one of Spot's favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movies. The Dream Master definitely was up there as one of my all-time favorites. I just really like the notion, the overall feeling that Alice, as she lost her friend, she gained their abilities. That was totally something like Mega Man. Anything like Mega Man is all right in my books. Now, as a whole, this Freddy is pretty good. In fact, I would say it's on a sculpt level, it's one of the best Freddys that we've gotten from Mezco. You would almost not even be able to tell based on the fact that this particular head has the surgical mask on it. Even though the mask is still on it, you can see the details in Freddy are all there. The sculpt on the face, the sculpt on the eyes, really as a whole, the eyes are really done well. You can see all the details of the mask wrapped around the ears there, attached to the back. There's all the scarring, disfigurement of Freddy Krueger. Of course, he's also got his surgical hat on as well. Even the fact that he is wearing a mask, you can still make out the fact that they've put the impression in there of his mouth. Also, really nice added touch. If you aren't specifically a fan of this particular Freddy head, don't worry. Mezco's got you covered. They also get an alternative. You get an alternate Freddy unmasked head. Now, it's your preference, really, as to which one you would prefer. Personally, as a matter of my own preference, I kind of like the masked Freddy. Yes, we all know it's Freddy Krueger underneath there. The reveal was no surprise to us at all. But I like the fact that it's still a bit of an intrigue. Having him unmasked kind of looks like he's almost working the soup kitchen. I don't know. But again, the option is yours. Even without the mask, the unmasked, as it were, the unmasked face of Freddy is done really, really well. I would say definitely on par with some of NECA's work. Some of the earlier Freddy Krueger figures, loved them. Some of them were better than others, but I think of the four that we gotten, this was definitely the closest to what we would almost expect to find in a Freddy figure now. Just the level of detail is done certainly all much better than the original Freddy figures. So you get the alternate head. It's just a simple ball joint socket. Just unpeg the head, put it back in, boom, bada bing, bada boom. Other accessories. Well, really, actually, before we get the accessories, let's have a look at the overall figure. For the most part, he is in his surgical outfit, his doctor's outfit. You really don't see all that much. However, one little added touches that I do like is that around the sleeve, you can make out there is the under sleeve visible of his sweater. Nice touch. Obviously, he's got his Freddy pants and shoes on. And even on the back, let's turn him around there. Even on the back, you can even see, yes, it is right there, you can see the red and green striped sweater underneath this. Now, you can't remove it. This is all one sculpt. But I like even you can see the tie-up strings from the outfit that he's got, the doctor's outfit that he has on. Really like that. If you keep looking down here and saying to yourself, well, something does seem off on this Freddy, unfortunately, one bit of bad news. Something I probably had mentioned in the other reviews, the other throwbacks I had done of the Freddy figures, these particular gloves, the blades on the gloves, extremely fragile. I don't even think NECA, releasing their versions of Freddy's, I don't think the blades have been this bad. They've generally switched to a more pliable, almost like a plastic rubber for the blades. So at least if anything, you're going to get a warped blade. You're not going to get a broken blade here. So yes, unfortunately, this Freddy, 2 of the 4 blades have broken off. Unfortunately, also with this particular Freddy, you have no alternate hand. So you could kind of have it behind if you wanted to. You can kind of have him with his arm behind, where you don't necessarily see it. Or you can kind of just have it slightly out, like so, where you're really not going to see those blades. That really doesn't bother me too much. I think, though, the detail on the gloves are done well. You can see kind of that bronze paint. Slightly metallic, also a metallic silver to the actual blades. On the inside, you can see that there's Freddy's hand. Again, done really, really well. I think one thing I really like about this Freddy too is it's just a really nice contrast. We have gotten so many Freddys in the past, especially with the Mezco Cinema Fear figures. We've gotten a Tuxedo Freddy, we've gotten a regular Freddy, we've now gotten the Surgeon Freddy. They're all very different from one another. That's one thing that I think NECA hasn't really touched base on yet. We have gotten variations to the sweatered Freddy, whether it be more of the sweater is revealed, less of the sweater is revealed. Obviously, by the time you're seeing this review, no real other Freddys have come out in the NECA line. Again, have seen what I believe pictures of this guy surfacing from NECA, so maybe by the time you're watching this review, perhaps the NECA review of, or the NECA figure of this Freddy is available. Other accessories, by the way, that came with this Freddy, I'll just put him down for a second. I really like this new backdrop and the fact that I could put a figure down and it doesn't seem to go anywhere. Old backdrop, yeah, he would have fallen by this point. Other accessories that would have come with this particular Freddy Krueger, perhaps something we will see in a later release also. We got ourselves the little meatball pizza. All the little friends in there. You're such a little meatball. That's kind of a neat little added touch. On the underside, there's the underside of the pizza. But done really, really well. I like that. This doesn't really kind of go with the Freddy, but I like the fact that they included this. I just think that this particular accessory probably goes a little bit better with the Freddy, as you get a little surgical blade. Blood, not one of Mezco's strongest suits, but at least you can kind of see it's slightly wet. I like at least that aspect to it, but it definitely doesn't really look like real blood, at least to my opinion at least. So you get that also. It does fit into his hand, so you can easily put it into his hand. I don't know if you want Freddy holding the surgical weapon. Really, the surgical tool, being the fact he's already got his glove hand, but it's your figure. You can certainly display him any which way you would like. In the way of Freddy's articulation, he has a ball joint right at the head area of the figure, so you can have him looking up, back and forth, all over the place. You can even have him tilt his head back and forth if he's confused. He has a pin and socket hinged shoulder, so his arms will go out all the way around. He has a bend in the elbow, a rotation and hinge in the hand, I should say. I believe actually his hand is a ball joint. I've always been very careful with, unfortunately, even though the blades have broken on this Freddy, I've always been very careful with removing hands because I find the pegs on these hands are very fragile. They seem to be a very small peg that unpegging and repegging any of the hands on any of these Freddy figures seems to be something that I kind of cringe at when I do. So this one didn't have alternate hands. That suits me just fine. He also has a swivel in the waist, and then he has absolutely nothing from the waist down. He is just a staction figure. Overall, really impressed with this Freddy. maybe not necessarily a favorite among collectors, meaning that he is really less Freddy in design than some of the other Freddy Kruegers, but I love the aspect that at least with the Cinema Fear, we got very, very different versions of Freddy Krueger. Not simply just a sweatered, fedora-wearing Freddy Krueger, but we definitely got different variations as well. And also as a side note, I really like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. It's one of my favorites. Also, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, which many people probably don't care for either. But yeah, overall, really liking this figure, and it was definitely a reason why I wanted to go back and do a throwback on these figures. So today, we were having a look at Freddy from Cinema Fear Series 4, and this was a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 Freddy Krueger, which, by the way, if I could give him a rating, I would give him a very strong 7.5. Once again, today's throwback, Spot was having a look at the Mezco Cinema Fear Series 4. We're looking today at a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, Surgeon Freddy. Thanks for watching as you always do, guys. Certainly stick around. Not only new reviews are heading your way, but also Spot will be going back and having a look at some of the older figures that he reviewed, giving it a fresh coat of paint once again. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.